we're going to be doing my bullet journal today, and there are going to be mistakes made that you will notice far before I do. They will be very clear, but for now, this is me picking out papers because I've decided what I want to do is die cut my letters for the month cover page and the letters for my weekly days. So I've picked out an assortment of kind of Hawaiian-ish, tropical-ish, colorful papers, and I'm cutting them to fit my Sizzix Sidekick, which is a little tiny die cutter, as you can see, and so you can use it to cut small things rather than having to get out a big die cutter to cut things. So I used the Sidekick from Sizzix to do all my die cutting, and so I just, and you will have probably caught my mistake, die cut all my letters for the cover page, which say June, but it is July. So it is going to be a while before I figure that one out. It will be quite a while before I figure it out. So right now I'm just going through and I'm cutting out the letters F, T, M, W, S, so that I have all of the letters for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm doubling up on the S's and the T's because there's more of those than there are the other letters, and I'm just showing what they look like there on top of the die cutting machine. So here is where I should have caught my mistake because I'm laying out June. Oh, it looks so nice. Oh, it looks so pretty. And I'm carefully arranging those letters. And it doesn't occur to me until much later that indeed it is not June that I am setting up for. It is July. But I was setting it up in June. So in my head, it made sense that it was June. So I'm gluing down the letters, just holding them with a tweezer so that I can use my fine tip glue, which is Barely Arts glue, which I love. I paper craft, and I use that for all my paper crafting liquid glue needs. And I've just put some in a small fine tip bottle that I keep here on my desk for things that I want to glue into my reading journal or my bullet journal or any other thing that I want glued. So now I am doing the July calendar page and my gratitude page. And for these, fortunately for July, I realized that I need July, not June. And to be perfectly honest, I went back and did this portion. I moved forward and did my weekly, and then I came back and I did this. But for logistical and logic and flow purposes, I'm showing it in the actual way that it proceeds in my journal. So July calendar on the left, gratitude on the right, and I've just made sure that I have my beginning and ending letters for gratitude, then my middle letter, did the little counting thing so that I could make sure that gratitude fit all the way across the page because it is such a long word. Now I've moved on to my weekly spread, which I always start my monthlies on whatever day of the month starts. So I don't do a Sunday to Saturday week. My weeks always start with Monday, but my months always start with whatever day of the month starts on. So I don't have, some of August in July. I don't have some of February in January. I like the months to be distinct and separate. So I've glued down all of the letters for the week, which started on a Wednesday. And now I'm just going through a little a little bowl, little cat bowl of things that I've pulled out over time that I do want to use at some point and seeing if there's anything in there I want to use. And indeed, I found 2 quotes. I'll make a decision in a little bit about that I've pulled out a washi tape that sort of goes with the bright, colorful theme that I'm going for this month, and I'm going to put that down after some struggle finding the end, which is always a struggle with washi tape, finding that end. Sticking it down just a bit below the Sunday, and I will add some extra decoration to this page because it's got the room now, because there are only 5 days on this spread rather than a 7-day spread. Cutting off the extra washi, and then I'm going to read through my 2 quotes that I picked, and I picked the quote that says, "No matter what happens, I have no expectations, only control over how I want to feel. So no matter what happens, I know I will have a great time." It's attributed to Shiloh. I have no idea who Shiloh is, but I like this quote because I feel like a lot of times we feel like we have to have control over everything. I know I feel like that a lot of times, and really all we can control is our own emotions and how we respond to things. We can't control everything, but our attitude and our perspective and how we respond to things can affect how our day goes, how our month goes, how we're feeling in the moment. So now I've picked out a very old sticker book. I do not think you will be able to find this anywhere. It is years old, from Amy Tangerine, and it is bright colors and kind of summery, and I found a tiger that I liked, that I felt kind of goes with the flowery jungle tropical sort of thing I'm going for. And then I found a quote on clear sticker paper that says "full of gratitude." So just putting down little reminders like that in text stickers. I like having that inside my journal. I don't do it all the time, but I like having them just as like little motivational pieces. And now I'm numbering all my days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I will go in with my mild liner. I love mild liners. I love them so much. I wish there was like every color in the world. Oh, I forgot. I'm going to do this first. I'm going to put down that it's July 4th, and I'm writing that in red pen, and then I'm going to add little dashes and stuff to kind of make it look like it's fireworks surrounding it. It's not beautiful or perfect or anything. I am no artist, but I thought it would be fun to add some fireworks here. But as I was saying, after this, I'm going to do the mild liners, and I really love mild liners, and I know that they come in a lot of colors now, but I wish they came in even more colors. I would, like, if there was 100 set of mild liners, I would buy that 100 set of mild liners. I think they're fabulous for highlighting. They're fabulous for making, like I use them for little boxes or handwriting. I really like the kind of muted nature of the colors. So here I'm grabbing for that mild liner, and I've decided to use gray so that it's not competing with the colors of the letters and the washi that's on the page. And I just do 2 little lines per dot grid and leave a space, and then continue on to the next day, leave a little space, which I forgot to do there. So you're going to see me go back in a bit and correct that mistake. I am not a perfectionist when it comes to my bullet journal, because my bullet journal is to keep me on track and to keep me knowing what's coming in the days ahead, to keep track of what I'm doing that day. I like for it to look pretty. Everybody likes for it to look pretty, but it doesn't have to be perfect for me to be happy and for me to use it. That perfection I think can hold some people back when they're creating their bullet journal, or think that you can't do it because it's got to be perfect. It does not have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough for you. And this is good enough for me. So here is where I go back and say, oops, I forgot to do the June and July. And then amazingly, there it is again. And I'm going to number 1 through 30 because I forgot that July is actually 31 days. I didn't do my little knuckle trick. So that'll teach me, you know, if you start with the first knuckle of your finger and do January, February into the valley between your knuckles, February is not a 31. So if you do January, February, March, that March is on a knuckle, so it's a 31. And you do that through all your fingers, you'll be able to remember which 31 it is. And for years, that's been the only way I've been able to remember which months are 31. And I didn't do it, and so I thought July was just 30, but it is not. And I will go back and fix it later and add that 31 on to the end. I just do 1 line a day and write everything in a horizontal line that I need to do for that day. I will highlight doctor's appointments or special things like birthdays and things like that. My gratitude, I just try to write 1 line a day for something I'm grateful for. We just went and saw this amazing play in New York City called Every Little Thing, I believe is what it's called. Anyway, it had Mariska Hargitay in it, and before that it had Daniel Radcliffe in it. And it's about this woman who starts making a list of things to be excited and grateful for and find joy in life in. Like, you know, seeing a dog hang its head out the window and the joy on their face. And so I like that idea of finding something, no matter how small it is, to be grateful for during the day. So now I've moved on, and I've already done the first week. So now I've moved on to the second week of the month, and I'm picking out my letters for Monday through Sunday. I always start on a Monday because for me, that's when my actual kind of like work week starts. Sundays are just, Saturdays and Sundays are slower days. So I don't have a lot on those days. So I put them at the end because they don't need my initial focus as much as the weekdays. And I've made the decision to make my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday use up more room. So be spaced out 1, 2, 3 on the left, and Thursday through Sunday be spaced out in 4 sections on the right, because I know that not a lot is going to happen on Saturday and Sunday, but more is going to happen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for me than in the latter half of the week. So I'm just, again, gluing these down with my Barely Art glue, using my little tweezers because my fingers are, you know, not always the best thing because they'll get in the way or they'll get glue all over them, and the tweezers are great for kind of keeping that nice and neat and putting things exactly where you want to put them without too much futz. Here I'm numbering the days of the week. So we're at 6 through 12, and then I will go in with that mild liner again and make my boxes. And this time, instead of adding an extra box like I did the last week that I had to white out, the Wednesday has come over farther than I would have liked. I should have put it a bit more to the left, but I was trying to sort of eyeball it with the M, and so it is taken up a bit more room. And so when I get to the W, I'm just going to move a space over so that straight line down, that nice straight line down of boxes has now been disrupted. And again, I'm not going for perfection. I'm just going for utility, but also something I like to look at. And it doesn't drive me too crazy that it is out of line. Like if it was one box out of line in this whole big line of things, that would make me insane. But one day with several boxes isn't going to send me over the edge. So I can live with it. It is not a mistake in my eyes. It is just making my journal work for me, making my setup that I have decided on work for me. And I think, again, it's something people get hung up on that's unnecessary, that perfectionist ideal. So here I'm using a blue pen, which is unusual for me. It is the Uniball Signo 207. And I have written down something erroneously, and so I'm going to get out my wonderful big whiteout tape and just make it go away. And I press it down because if I don't press it down, sometimes it doesn't stick. So now we're going back to the front of my journal to fill out some of my trackers, my yearly trackers. This is my TV watching tracker, and I'm going to fill out some of the TV that we have watched, Man on the Inside, and we finished watching Knife Edge, Chasing Michelin Stars, and I watched a couple episodes of Jack Ryan, and I am now adding Ted Lasso, which we have started rewatching, and so I'm just drawing in the squares for each season and episode for that. And so I just make boxes for each of the episodes that are in every season. So I filled it in when we watched that episode, and I've noted that it's a rewatch because of course I've already watched Ted Lasso, and I forgot what a great show it is. It's so good. And now I'm also adding Heated Rivalry, which we're doing on a rewatch, and noting that it is also a rewatch. And then I will go and I will color in what we've watched so far. And I know that we didn't watch Ted Lasso all in one lump, so I'm kind of breaking it out. We did watch several episodes in a row at times, but I'm not trying to be precise about what we watched when. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. Since this is more of a catch-up, I'm not being as precise as I could be if I were keeping up with it every single time I watched an episode. So now I'm going and I'm updating movies that I've watched, and they are Battleship, which 2 stars because it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great, not memorable. Although it was nice to see Rihanna being not Rihanna. And then I watched Atlas, which could have been a lot better, but it wasn't, which was kind of sad because it had the potential to be pretty good. And then I went to the movies a couple weeks ago and saw Backrooms, which was unbelievable. Yay, Chiwetel Ejiofor. But it doesn't get a full 5 stars because the female main character sort of didn't work very well for me. And then we watched The Quilters, which was a documentary on Netflix, and it was fantastic. And then I'm looking at my memories page and noticing that it's full, and I need to make a new one. So my overall front theme for trackers and that sort of stuff is steampunk. And so I have a ton of steampunk related things that I got from Journal Say at the beginning of the year, and including washi tape and maps and little steampunk PET and clocks and all kinds of steampunk related things. So I'm just adding to the steampunk layout, and some of this will get overlaid with photos, but I don't care. I like that it's there in the background. I'm just working on putting down the washi and putting down some of the map pages in the corners, and then adding some ephemera bits that sort of look like they could be film strips or, you know, technical writing or something like that. So I'm just adding things that, you know, make me happy, feel like they go with the aesthetic, cutting off the little bits that hang over. And now I'm writing memories because that's what this page is. And now I'm cutting out some things that I've already printed from, and there is the cat again. Apologies. She's very loud because we're all up here and she is not being paid attention to. How dare we? And adding some things from memories for June, where we went to New York and we went to Cherry Grove and my poor puppy lost her eye. And here is where I realized that I have made a massive mistake and but pasted down June instead of July. So here's me thinking for a few minutes about what am I going to do. And I finally decide, well, I don't want to cover over it, and I don't have much of that particular paper left, but I still want to use it. So I'm going to peel off the 2 letters I don't need. And yes, it's going to tear the pages of my journal because this is good sticky glue, but I don't care. I will find a way to work around that, as you'll see. And so I'm using the tweezers to pull off all the remnants of the N and the E. And then I'm going to use an eraser to sort of pick up all the stray, raggedy bits of paper that are hanging out. It works pretty good, and I love, love, love this eraser. It is my favorite. It is Pilot foam eraser. And so now I've just gone back to that paper, and I'm gonna try to puzzle out the parts that I need for the L and the Y, which I think I can get out of this piece of paper, and indeed I will be able to get out of this piece of paper. Cleaning up my mess just a little bit. I have a little tiny garbage bowl to the left there, so if you ever see my hand moving up and to the left, I'm putting in the garbage bowl. Admittedly, I should probably move my garbage bowl to the right so my big old arm doesn't get in the way of things, but I am used to having it on the left now, so that's where it lives. So this is me trying to figure out where to put it, and I realize if I turn it over, it will be much easier for me to see how much room I have left. So I'm placing it on very carefully on the piece of paper, and using just a piece of washi to hold it in place there while I put it through the die machine. Doing the same thing for the L, trying to figure out where the best position is so I can use up that paper, and then again putting a piece of washi down so it won't move. And hoping that I have done it in the right place, double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking. And I'm sticking my sidekick back down. It has this suction thing, that's what the little lever on the left is. Running it back through, getting my letters out. And you can see I've used it quite a bit. My cutting plates are very cut up. And I'm pulling out the letters, which is off screen, of course, because why wouldn't it be? And finding that it actually didn't cut all the way through on the letters, so I'm redoing that so that I know for sure those letters are going to come out. So there's the Y and the L is coming soon. It shall come. The L, it shall come. I had to poke it out. There's these little holes in the dies so that if the paper gets stuck in there, you can just use a little pokey tool or a tweezer end and stick it in that hole, and the paper kind of pops out, and then you can pull it out from there. So now I'm going to put everything away, and then I'm going to get this assortment of papers that I think work fairly well with the tropical vibe I'm going for. I don't end up using the white at all, but those very vivid, bright colors, I am going to use some flower die cuts that are kind of abstract flowers in that they're more just the shape. They don't have any, they're not going to have a center, they're not going to have a stem or anything like that. And I'm pulling out some that I had previously cut and stuck in a bag with the other dies. So I'm just going through and picking out some papers, cutting them down to size, putting the flowers on the flower die cuts on the paper and pulling those out so that I have a nice assortment of various flowers and colors to choose from. And that is how I'm going to cover up my giant mistake of putting down June when I should have put down July. So using just a clear stamp block that's sort of heavy to hold my pages down. I have a clip, but I don't always like to use it, especially when I have two pages that sort of need to be still. I like using my little acrylic block because it's heavy and it'll cover both pages. So now again, I'm just using my Bearly Arts glue in the fine tip bottle, using the tweezers, and I'm gluing the flowers over top of the oopsie that I made. So I will use all of the flowers. Well, maybe not all of the flowers. I will use most of the flowers and one leaf to cover up the really terrible sections. And then I will put the L and the Y back on top. Finished, and granted it's a little hard to see the L and the Y. It's much easier in person, but it's hard to see here on screen. But it really covered up most of my mistakes that I made by pulling off the N and the E. And now we'll get ready to do a flip through of what I have done for July. So the cover page, and then my July calendar and my July gratitude, 1 line a day, my first week that I had already filled out, and my second week, which is ready to be filled out. And that's all. Thanks, everybody.